All right. Let's get this thing going. Let's get this thing started. What's going on, good people? How's everybody doing out there? This is Nick here, along with my man DJ, the Money Coach. We have a new series that we're launching tonight. This is Nick's Knowledge and Notions NQ Science Series, brought to you by the Seven Spheres of Money and Duransburg International. What's going on, DJ? How you feeling tonight?
Man, everything's great, Nick. Everything's great, man. I'm so excited, man, that we're launching this amazing new Nick's Knowledge and Notions NQ Science Series with my main man, Nick Westbrooks. Man, I'm so excited. This is exciting, man. I'm fired up. I'm fired up, man. This is part of that pom-pom lifestyle. Plenty of money, peace of mind, big dreams come true, man. How you feeling, brother?
I'm feeling great, man. I'm excited. I'm excited about this. You know, you kind of threw this on me like, oh, we'll give him a show. I'm like, okay, I guess I'm moving up in the world. I get my own show now. So right. now I'm doing two shows. So you know, I hope I'm not the only one that's working hard out here.
Hey man, we like the Jamaicans. Hey man, every week, but that's how you get free, baby. So,
yeah.
Tell the people, man, what's the premise of this show, man, and what they can expect every week, Friday, you know, and this is our launch. And again, man, this is your show. So go ahead, take the platform, and I'm just going to follow your lead.
Okay, of course. Yeah, I'm going to, I'm going to build for a little bit, and then I'll bring you on in. So first I'll give a little bit of my thinking behind, you know, the name of the show and the purpose of the show. So, you know, I have a lot of things going on in my mind. I'm very mental, you know, maybe not in a sick type of way, but I think about a lot of things, and my thoughts are very wide ranging, and I like to think of myself as a well-rounded person. So I didn't really want to, you know, focus this series on a specific topic, you know, since I think about so many different things. And, you know, I just want to express myself on a few things and also back it up with a little bit of knowledge that I learned over the years, some things that I observed, some things that I experienced. You know, so that's the premise of it. So that's where we get the knowledge and the notions. You know, the knowledge meaning things that I learned. You know, the notions meaning, you know, my thoughts on things, backed by you know, the knowledge, of course. So what I want to start with tonight, the topic of staying on your purpose and your grind in the midst of the calamity, craziness, and chaos. So I'll start with a post that I saw floating around the beginning of March, you know, mid-March, when the pandemic first started. So just to paraphrase the post, it said something to the effect of, you know, if you didn't come out of the quarantine or the pandemic with, you know, either a new skill or some knowledge or a new hustle, then it wasn't that you lacked time, it's that you lacked discipline. So that was the original post. Then I saw kind of like a counter response to the post that said, no, what you're doing is fine. You know, all of us are going through a collective traumatic experience right now, and not everyone has the privilege to turn the pandemic into productivity or something fun. So I kind of understood both perspectives. You know, the one side that, you know, you should be using this time to learn a new skill and to really lock into your purpose. And then the other side, you know, saying that, you know, people are going through some hard times, you know, maybe financially, maybe in terms of health, maybe in terms of social and political, you know, atmosphere of the country. So I kind of see both sides, but I lean more towards coming out of this quarantine, you know, having gained new skills, new knowledge, you know, starting up a new hustle. So I lean more towards that side, and that's not to discount or discredit the people who may be going through some hardships or to be insensitive to those who are going through hardships. But I also understand that there are a lot of people who do enjoy a certain amount of privilege, and they don't have many excuses to not come out with any new skills or new knowledge or anything of that nature. Then also, being on this platform, DJ the Money Coach, we also don't subscribe to the victim mentality either. So we have that perspective as well. So I just wanted to address that tonight, and also acknowledge my own privilege too. Like, yes, I've been able to work from home, being a teacher. I've been blessed to have good health, been blessed that all my family and those close to me to be in good health. So I do acknowledge, the privilege and from that perspective, but I still stand behind that you have to be tapped into your purpose and stay the course, even though a lot of things are going on right now. So I talked to a lot of people over the past 5 months, and the most common question that I get is, Nick, how are you holding up with everything that's going on? And my answer is simple. I just continue in that as normal as I can, and I've actually found a lot of opportunities within the past few months, including coming on to the DJ the Money Coach team, as a contractor. I've been a client of DJ's for the past 11 months or so. And around April, he asked me to join his team, with bringing his brick and mortar business over to the digital world. So that's one opportunity that I found during the quarantine. Also financially, I've accumulated a lot more money during the quarantine because obviously, spending less, not able to do much or go many places. One of DJ's skillful accountants, got me a nice tax return on my taxes. So that was something else. Of course, the stimulus package, of course, continue to receive my regular pay from my job, so, with those options, with those opportunities, I was able to get myself incorporated, with my own LLC, Master Manifestations LLC. I was also to pay my car off 6 months early. So those are some of the other opportunities I was able to take advantage of within the past 5 months. Also, I've been, just tapped into developing myself, exercising on a regular basis. Before the weather broke, I was right here in my living room doing my workouts. Then once the weather broke, I went outside and got my jogging and my calisthenics in. I've been reading, catching up on my reading. I read a few very powerful books, including The Millionaire Next Door, From Good to Great, Relentless by Tim Grover. And so of course the reading. I'm currently reading this book right here. Why Should White Guys Have All the Fun by Reginald Lewis. Yeah. So catching up on my reading, also practicing my numerology. I took the online course back in June. So I've been practicing my numerology. We'll talk about that in another class. Just studying up on the finances. So yeah, I've been really focused and really tapped in and really disciplined over the past 5 months. And I'm not sure if it's because of my work ethic, because I'm naturally a hard worker. Is it because I've also been studying the manosphere and learning about the red pill, and I've been taking that red pill. I don't know if it's like what David Goggins talked about with callous in your mind. It could be a combination of all those things. So pretty much my message and what we want to kind of build on, and what DJ will talk about on that shirt in a minute is staying on your purpose, staying the course, and staying focused. Not having that victim mentality and having that self accountability and that self discipline. So DJ, how has the past 5 months been for you? I know business is expanded, and you found some opportunities during this time as well, right?
Oh, absolutely. Hey, man, first things first, want to commend you and let you know, Nick, that guess what? You have a dream, you have a goal, and you have a plan. And that is universal to everyone in this whole world on this ball of mud called Earth. So there's no reason for anybody in any situation, anytime, to have a victim mentality. Now, don't get me wrong. There are some extenuating circumstances where people have been legitimately victimized, like George Floyd. Those situations we can't control. But I'm talking about normal situations where if you grew up like I did in a 1-bedroom apartment with, you know, rats and roaches and your mom and your sister, those things are overcomable. Okay. That's 98% of people on the planet. But those catastrophic, traumatic, hate, you know, situations, we can't control those. But those are the narratives that you're seeing on the landscape in the media every day, 24/7, 365, which unfortunately those situations should have quelled by now, but we have to understand the business behind that. So those major networks, which we're losing to the social media, you know, networks, are promoting that because that makes them money. So the CNBCs, the NBCs, the ABCs, the CBSs, the millennials like yourself, you don't use that medium. That's out of date. But since they have the opportunity to seize this moment financially, they're going to show all this negative information over and over and over and over and over and over and over again, where they're going to normalize you to get this in your system, that this is the norm. This is not the norm. That's an exception to the rule, because everything follows the money. Okay. Everything follows the money. So I want to make sure everybody's clear about that. So don't think people out here doing philanthropy because they're good people. Most people that do philanthropy, unfortunately, Nick, are only doing it for financial gain. And I'm going to quote BK1. I don't care what your religion is. I don't care who your God is. But in BK1, the Bible, it says, if you're doing good works, you don't have to brag about it. The people that you do good works for, they will know what the works have done for them, and they will spread the gospel. But in the world we live in, we show our good work so that we can get popularity, so that we can get leverage, so that we can make money at the end of the day. And it's another saying in the hip hop world, you know, real bad boys move in
silence.
Exactly. So your actions are more powerful than your words. So in the past 5 months, yeah, man, it's been a wild experience. But here's the thing. You have to be an early adopter. What do I mean by that? You just showed about 6-7 books, man, that you have put the grind in. So what people don't realize is that books stimulate the mind, and then the mind stimulates the man, and then the man goes out and does the work which God has engineered you to do in the first place. And so God put a dream inside of you, and every person has a dream. Every person is the architect of his or her future. And the only person can stop your trajectory in this world outside of a racist and a targeted person targeting you as a prey from the predator is you. Because it ain't how you start, it's how you finish. Okay. So if you take that philosophy and that thought jumps in your head, and sometimes you see those commercials, they have the good angel and the bad angel on one shoulder, that's your conscience talking to you. And you know what the right thing to do, but you fall prey to all this media and you want to fit in. But see, a real winner, an eagle, an alpha, a rhino running headstrong in a negative opposition, a tiger, they move on their own thoughts and their own premises. So that's all you've been doing. So that's a manifestation, Nick. So don't say you're privileged, because you're not. You have earned the right to be on this platform. You have earned the right to everything that you got. Now, there is a such thing as privilege. There are people who are born on third base in a baseball analogy, because that's why I call myself DJ the Money Coach, because I'm a baseball guy. I'm a sports guy, but baseball is my sport. So that person that's like a substitute runner, somebody hit a triple, be it the pitcher, and he's got to rest in the dugout to come out for the next inning to pitch on the mound. He needs to get, reinvigorated and not get gassed. So I'm going to get a pinch runner come in and take third base. That person who's the runner didn't hit the triple, didn't run around the bases, but he scores on the next hit or the next sacrifice fly, and they give him credit for the run. But the work was done by the pitcher. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So in the world we live in, people who are really privileged are those people who parents, grandparents have done the work and put them ahead and don't give them accountability. They just give them stuff. Now, if that person hops up on a platform and all of a sudden it blows up, it ain't because they did the work. It's because they came from a real privileged institution. You didn't come from privilege, okay? So don't use that word the wrong way, all right? So here's the thing we have to understand. So getting back to your question, and we're going to talk about a lot of stuff tonight, and I'm excited about this. So why am I excited about the past 5 months? Because 6 years ago, I had this vision. 12 years ago, I had this vision. 20 years ago, I had this vision. Because guess what? Just like you, I went to school to become a CPA, but then I changed my major to broadcast journalism, television production. I actually had a show on the radio back in 1992 called Sports Scope. Well, I used to talk about sports because I was a sports writer. And that show was very successful. But I didn't see the way to make money with it, so I jumped off the boat prematurely because guess what I didn't have? I didn't have an apprenticeship. I didn't have a mentor. Now, I did have an internship, but that internship was by somebody that didn't look like me, so I couldn't see the wherewithal of taking the sacrifice, the investment, because I needed to make money. So I put that dream and snuffed it to go make money, okay? So now that it's starting to materialize on this digital platform and social media, we can talk about stuff we want to talk about because we have thought about it for 20 years. And you went to school and you have a journalism background, so you shouldn't be surprised that you're on this platform, okay? So don't ever downplay what your dreams are. Don't downplay what your goals are. Don't downplay what your plans are. And they may not come immediately the way you want them to because we live in a microwavable society. But if you stay the course, they eventually are going to come to fruition if that's God's, desire for you. They say it's a joke. God looks at your goals and your dreams. He laughs at them because he has different ones for you. Now, with that said, as we put the pieces of the puzzle together, and since we're a financial institution, but we need to talk about things that people are down with in their regular lives. What's going on with them that propels them to be where they are, how they're winning, how they're losing, how they're just staying status quo. And they're like a dead fish floating down the stream. So with me, again, back to that question, and I was elongated. Why am I excited is because, 12 months ago, you came to a course, 12 months ago in August, you came to a course called, Family Finance 101. And I'm doing business in the brick and mortar, but I met this incredible guy who's got this medium that's growing. And I see a star, about to become a supernova. And I interact with him. We make good connections and we do our program on his show. He interviews me a couple of times. It goes successfully. And then we do a webinar, and that webinar has some success. And in that webinar, there's a Nick Westbrooks. And Nick Westbrooks writes this amazing recommendation to my program that I thought I was listening to a black version of Ernest Hemingway. And I'm not equating you to Ernest Hemingway. I'm just equating to the emulation of the characteristics and the principles of writing. You had a gift for prose, okay? And when I saw this, I was like, wow, man, I don't even know if I deserve half the stuff you're talking about. But I am totally excited and I'm humbled by looking at and reading that in detail. I had to go back and make sure to fact check that I did even a third of that stuff. So who would have known that we would have been here now, but that was God's plan. So when you wrote this identification in these step-by-step notes of what I gave in the value of the course that you said and your summation, dude, this is cheap. This guy's giving a course for $99 is worth at least $1,000 because he gave you a book. He gave you a financial plan. He gave you instructions on how to engage with it before you even took it. He gave you a survey. He followed up with you. Pop, 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 pop. In the midst of you saying that, you had other people who were complaining, but those same people would go out here and spend $300 on Jordans. Those same people go out here and spend $300 on HM, or they would go spend $300 on red bottom shoes, or they would go spend $300 out at the club and popping bottles. So from there, we did a couple more webinars, and those webinars grew. And then you became a client of ours, and we sat down with you step by step, gave you some principles of success. I didn't tell you I was going to do the stuff for you. I just said, Nick, guess what? I'm going to do 3 things for you. 1, I'm going to give you the template that I figured out for myself. Then I'm going to give you the blueprint of having future success. And the 3rd thing, which is most important, I'm going to hold you accountable and see if you're going to be disciplined enough to put that work in. So like my father and my grandfather told me, DJ, the only time you will ever find success before work is in the dictionary. So as that started to get bigger and better, and I started looking back what I did in 2006, 2010, where I traveled across the country across the United States, this corporation, which is a country. And I did 7-10 cities tours talking about financial education with Dr. George Frazier, who we interviewed. And when that grew real big, I was your age. And I really didn't know how to control it because I wasn't used to, what they call, celebrity, fame. So that got kind of out of control. We made a lot of money. Egos got involved, and it broke up after we made tons of money. Talked to tons of people, impact a lot of lives. And at that moment, when it broke up in 2010, 2011, I said, you know what? One day, I'm going to put this back together. Like Humpty Dumpty, fell off the wall. Humpty Dumpty got put back together again. And I said, you know what? When that day comes, I'm going to be prepared this time. And now, guess what? That's time is now. But that was 9 years ago. And when we were in our prime from 2010, that was actually 12 years ago, Nick.
Wow.
All I'm doing is running a video. Now I know what to expect. What the game is just a different platform called social media. So we might be coming late to the game, but we bring in 20 years of knowledge, 20 years, most importantly, of expertise, and 20 years of going through major catastrophes. 9/11, 2008, the market crashed because of derivatives and bad mortgages and greed. And now we're in the COVID-19. So I'm at peace, brother, because I experienced that and my business grew because I was prepared for the catastrophic events, because any smart person knows that good times don't last, but good people do. So these last 5 months, we put together a phenomenal team and some sharp people that I love. And some of them understand entrepreneurism, some of them don't, but they're going to come back and roll with us because they're going to see one thing that's always going to be true about our game is, man, it ain't over till we say it's over. Until the clock strikes 0, until the fat lady sings, until the last shot goes up for victory, we don't stop, baby. It's like Maze and Puff. You say, hey, baby, we don't stop. That's what we do. So in my age, I know the blueprint. I got the template. And all I'm doing is looking for the team to come on board. And guess what? I found one of the key players in Nick Westbrooks. That's why I'm excited, bro. So again, congratulations for you bringing this Nick's Knowledge and Notions in 3 Science Series. I bow down to you, my friend. So let's get this party started and let's rock and roll tonight. And come on in, questions and Q&A. Everybody's open. We're going to have fun.
All right. Yeah, I'm loving it, man. That's really humbling. Yeah, you said a whole lot there, but a couple things that stood out to me, this just the fact that you don't have short-term memory. You remember everything that you went through over the past 20 years and how you got through it, and you pretty much took those same lessons and applied them to now. To get over some of the things that you're facing or that this corporation is facing. And we're living in the social media age, and a lot of my peers are noticing that people aren't the same. Men and women aren't the same as they were back in the day. My boy LeBray, he would say, we're experiencing the Instagrammatization of some of our women and including our men too. So you being an OG and still being in the game and coming into.
Hey man, let me interject right here. So okay. I went to the store today, right? I got carded to buy some liquor. And when the lady carded me, I was cracking up because it's in one of them automated lines, and you got to the person is. She was like, "Oh, I need to see your ID." Like, my ID? Yeah, I need to see your ID. So I got a big smile on my face. So I show her my ID. She says, "Oh my God, I'm 2 years older than you. What have you been doing to keep yourself so young?" I said, I don't have a job.
There you go.
I'm gonna say that again. I don't have a job. And now you would think she would have said, "Well, what do you do?" Nope. She just fat. She just scanned the thing, got me going. So when you call me OG, you got to call me the young OG.
Young OG.
Young OG.
Yeah. The OG with the young face. Oh yeah. So you're new to all this new social media, new social media stuff, and you kind of alluded to attention being a currency also, with the cloud chasing and people doing things just to become famous. So was that kind of like a culture shock to you, seeing people behave this way, with the new media and all of that?
No, man, it's not a culture shock because there's nothing new under the sun. There's just new technology. Okay. Mm-hmm. Everything that's happening right now, man, it happened 6,000 years ago, 10,000 years ago. Winners never change their characteristics and their principles. Losers never change theirs. So all we're seeing now is technology is just speeding up access to people, things they were doing in the dark. And I'll equate it to this. We all went to high school, right? You had all types of cliques. You had the athletes, you had the nerds, you had the cool cats, you had the punk rock cats, you had the skateboarders, and then you had the cats that everybody wanted to be. That's why they had a king and queen of the prom. So all you're seeing on social media is that people who have inferiority complexes. There's a thing called Maslow's, principles. It's a triangle. And at the top of the triangle is, self-actualization. And all that means in layman terms is know thyself. So no, I'm not surprised at all. I have 4 children and I teach them about knowing themselves first so they don't have peer pressure. Because the pressure is not knowing who you are. And when you don't know who you are, you're going to follow the next thing that comes across your plate that somebody tells, "Oh, man, this is cool, man. I'm going to get on TikTok and I'm going to do some stupid videos and I'm going to get 1 million people." Is that substance? No, that's popularity. But they're going to make money off of stupid stuff. And then we forget that ain't real. So why are you glorifying that? And now why are you putting actors, entertainers, and athletes as your spokesperson for your politics, your principle, and your family guidelines? And I'm not surprised by that because, again, go back to BK1. It says, again, in a paraphrase, what is good will be bad and what is bad will be good. So it's a race to the bottom that we have in our society, and it's all across the world. It's pervasive. So by being a young OG, I done seen this video, baby.
Been there. Yeah.
Been there, done that. Got the t-shirt. It's a lot of sheep going off the cliff like lemmies. Every 4 years, these rodents called lemmies, they go off the cliff and kill themselves. And that's what you're saying. So you got these idiots that are literally so sucked into their cell phone, they're getting literally ran over and literally running off cliffs. Just like 3 weeks ago, me and Crusher, we're in the car, and this young girl is just continuing to walk. And I said, "Crusher, look at this girl. She's not going to stop." She walked right past us at the light was green. No, wow. I'm not surprised. And that's what they say. Youth is wasted on youth. So my experience, you may be bigger, stronger, and faster than me now, but I got them old man moves because I've been where you were, and I can see what mistakes you're going to make. So I just moved to the side, put an old man move on you, and I still get paid.
Yeah.
So just like the lady at the store said, "Man, oh, God, you're only 6 years younger than me. What are you doing to be son?" "I don't have a job. I'm financially independent. I'm living my own life." Or like old boy say, "I live my best life," but know what? I'm living a real life because I put 20 years in to get free. I'm not an overnight success. I've had thousands of failures. But I stayed the course and I believed in me. So the best thing that ever happened to me, Nick, is that my grandmother, rest her soul, Mildred Bradford, when I was 5 years old, and my father was, served in the military. My father is deceased. My father died in Vietnam. And so my grandmother said, hey, let me keep this real with you. She said, you go out there and be the best you can be, and you do everything you can do legally, ethically, and morally sound, and there's nothing that you can't have on this planet. And as you put it down and you make it happen, get straight A's, be a good person, I'm going to give you everything that you need to have. And my grandmother was a maid. And my grandmother made sure that when I had straight A's and I was a good student, I was respectful. If it was something back then in the 80s that I wanted once a year on my birthday, and I did what she asked me to do, she got it. No complaints. And she said, don't ever settle for anything second best if you're giving your best. And so I have always subscribed to that principle, and I don't look at no man, no woman better than me, because life is not fair. Fair is where pigs get slaughtered and where people win prizes. But I'm always in pursuit of justice, equity, and ownership, baby. So that's the long answer to a short question.
It's all good. That's what it's all about. That's what it's all about. Yeah, I don't know, like the lessons that you got from your parents and your grandparents. I know I've received those lessons from mine, but I don't know. It just doesn't seem like it's the same. Like we're millennials and people younger than me in Generation Z, I think, or whatever it's called. It just doesn't seem that I'm not sure if they're still receiving these lessons, if the parents and grandparents are giving these lessons, or if they're just not taking them in. But it just seems different now than
because they're copping out, Nick. They're copping out. Let's keep it 100. They're copping out. You know the difference between right and wrong by the time you're 6, 7 years of age. I'm sorry. You know that. It's a cop out. So we're allowing the narrative to be taught to us so that we can cop out because not doing the work, being lazy, being shiftless, because here's the thing. If you come to a red light is universal in all languages. A 5-year-old knows because they've been taught red means stop, green means go, yellow means yield. So in today's society, we're saying that, yellow means go, yellow means, stop, red means go, green means stop. So the people who are telling you that are telling you that for a reason of protectionism. So now you know that ain't right. And you're like, that ain't right, but then you keep hearing it. So now you become numb to it. So you start accepting wrong things as right because you don't know who you are. And you see the money going in that direction. There's a saying, all money ain't good money. But when you stand on principles and you know that you got to put the work in, that it doesn't come instantaneously, you will start winning. But most people are lazy. There's no substitute, and it will never run out of ignorance and laziness. But you know what we run out of? Integrity, hard work, accountability, because it ain't popular. But you know what? When all the smoke clears and all this foolishness stops, there's only 2-3 people standing in every situation, every category, every industry. It's the ones who practice the principles of success, put that work in, get their head down, and they're not looking for popularity. They learning about the internal self, and that's where the gifts come from. So don't use that as a cop-out, brother, because it's a cop-out. And unfortunately, in our society, and we're taking our culture and we're allowing it to be appropriated and misappropriated, and we're allowing people to say, oh man, it's cool, man. Oh, he's just expressing himself. But you know what? I can't express myself with my pants hanging around my ass. I can't express myself as a man trying to act like a woman. I can't express myself as a woman trying to act like a man. Oh, that's not how God engineered me. Well, I guess God got it wrong, huh? So I know this ain't popular, but again, this is unfiltered, unadulterated facts. So when you start putting the work in, then you deserve what you get. And yeah, there's going to be obstacles. There's going to be difficult situations, but those are learning situations. So one thing that we can put a blame or an excuse or a justification to is that, did you get mentorship? Did you get an apprenticeship program? Or did you search for the truth? Because I should be a statistic. But God put a thought in my head to say, hey, man, that ain't right. Look for the truth. Enthusiasm means God within. And again, I'm not talking religion. I'm talking about God, the universal God. So if you're looking for that and you are not trying to be, conditioned or influenced by foolishness, foolishness. You just got to stand on your own shelf and just put that work in and say, hey, man, one day that star in me is going to come out. But most people want the quick fix. That's what the microwavable society and social media is. There's good things about technology, but 9 out of 10 times it's like Pandora's box. All technology is designed is to speed up principles to make life easier. It's not to cop out and put back principles of hard work, determination, and goals. That's what it's not about. Okay. So, let's loosen it up, because I know people are like, man, dude, y'all getting too serious. But hey, man, we gonna talk about everything.
Hey, I mean, I tell you, this is where my mind goes. I'm a serious minded person. So if it takes a little bit to get loosened up, that's just how I roll. That's just how I move.
It's your show, baby. Do what you want to do.
And I'm speaking my speech, man. This is what's on my mind, man. This is what's on my mind. You feel me?
I'm telling you, bro. Tell me what else is on your mind. You said knowledge is Nick, knowledge and notions.
Yeah, I got to talk about it. I got to talk about these things, man. So just going off of what you said, another observation, because this is my knowledge and my notions, another observation that goes into my knowledge is that you can create you, me, him, they, then all of us, we can create our own experiences and create our own realities. Because I noticed that a lot of the hardships, a lot of these obstacles that people face, they kind of bring it upon themselves. Sometimes they don't, but sometimes they do, especially tying it to social media and getting stuck to looking at other people's fake lives too, causing you to become depressed and things like that. So what you give your energy to grows. So once you take your energy away from it, and like I said, attention is another form of currency, just like energy and attention is another form of currency. Once you move your attention and your energy from certain things, this stupidity, like you mentioned, you notice your life becomes better. You become more at peace, more happy. So when it comes to going back to the topic that I lined up at the beginning of this broadcast about staying on your purpose and staying on your grind, once you remove all the unnecessary things, remove the things that you do have control over, you start to live better. It's that's another one of my notions.
Well, let's talk about purpose and talk about clutter. Okay.
All right, let's talk about
what people are finding out is like what you found out in COVID-19. A lot of stuff that you want, you don't need. I'm gonna say that again. A lot of stuff you want, you don't need. So one of the great things that come out of this COVID-19 is that, I don't need to go hang out at the club, 3 days out of the week. Now, don't get me wrong. I did my share of partying, had a great time.
Yeah.
I even got in trouble a couple of times partying, because that's just growing your oats, and feeling yourself, which everybody does. Wild animals do too. But at some point in time, we got to grow up and be adults. So now we're finding out that, since we can't go out and do a lot of things, do I need this big luxury vehicle? Now, don't get me wrong. I've had big luxury vehicles and I like them, but I didn't like them to the point that it derailed my financial freedom. Everybody goes through a new rich experience. And what I mean by new rich, you can make $1,000 for the first time and you never made more than 100. You're going to feel like you hit the lottery and you're going to go out and enjoy that. But if it's not sustainable, then what should you do? You should think about what are the necessities that I need and live a life that you need to have so that you can live it consistently for your entire life. So you can live it consistently for your entire life. Everybody, Nick, should take 3-4 vacations a year. At least 2 7-day vacations, and at least 2 4-day vacations, which meaning from Thursday to Monday, because we're going through the grind and the stress, and we need to have release points. And then even in the midst of, you know, the overcluttering, to say, hey man, do I need to have the 70-inch television, now the 100-inch television, screen television, or does I need a TV, or do I need to even be looking at TV at all? Man, I'm reading more books now than I read before COVID, you know, because, you know, the idle mind is the devil's playground, right? So when you're looking at these things, if you have purpose, what is purpose? Purpose is the desire and the plan to how you want your life to play out. So what people don't realize, and they know this, is that everything that you're seeing is programmed. Reality TV is not reality TV. That's scripted. Mm-hmm. So why shouldn't Nick go out and say, you know what? I just want to be financially independent. And maybe financial independence is only making $5,000 a month, but you have no consumer debt. You own your house, you own your car, and your overhead monthly is only $2,500. So you still got $2,500 to play. And you can go to Hawaii, Bora Bora. You can go to the Maldives Islands, Ibiza, you know, Cape Verde and Zanzibar, because those things don't cost a lot if you don't owe a lot to anybody. But if you constantly out here trying to chase the new, here's the tip for you. There's always going to be somebody got something newer than yours. I'm going to say that again. There's always going to be somebody got something newer than yours. Mm-hmm. You think you got the new George, the new Stephs, and they got that model that they just released because they playing in the new one. You think that you got the newest cores or you got the new HM that wasn't even made for you, dum-dum. Here's a novel concept. How about put your name on your belt buckle, dum-dum? How about put your name on your ass, dum-dum? What's that? Oh, snap. That's a D for a DJ, the money coach, dum-dum. So if I'm going to be up here promoting, I'm going to promote me. And if I'm great personality with no character that people want to follow like many sheep do, why not get paid for me? But we're being taught that, hey, man, you're not as great as you should be, but you're a great entertainer. You're a great ball player, baby, and you can make a lot of money for you as an individual, but you can make wealth for me, baby. There's a movie called Cadillac Man. If you ain't seen it, they got a scene in there with Jeffrey Wright, who's playing a character of Muddy Waters, and they got this just one white cat, I forget his name, he won an Academy Award, and they sit down in front of the radio show host, and the guy says, hey, man, I'm going to make you rich, and I'm going to make you famous. So he's pointing at Jeffrey Wright, saying, I'm going to make you famous, but he's pointing at the white boy and saying, I'm going to make you rich. And then Muddy Waters said, no, bro, let's switch seats, because I ain't trying to be famous, I'm trying to be rich. Because he knew himself. So at what point in time are we going to stop out here shaking our ass, tap dancing, showboating, or even these politicians who are doing somebody else's agenda and do our own agenda? You know, that's purpose.
That's purpose right there. But DJ, I worked so hard, I like this, I like this luxury car, I like this big TV, I work 70 hours this week. I deserve to have it.
Guess what? I felt the same way too. But when I looked up, here's another real story. 1997, December 96.
Yeah.
I worked for a company called Systra Software Services, Lombard, Illinois, and they created what are called images of hardware for routers, hubs, and switchers that are physical components for computers. And they did remote sites. So we did the images to actually shorten the time frame to do what is called computer and design, layouts. So I was an executive salesperson for them on the East Coast. I came in December 96, and first month in business, I shattered all their sales records. Made something like $30,000, $40,000 in January of 1997. Guess what happened? We did our beginning of the year sales meeting, Nick, and they said, hey, everybody, we want to applaud, DJ Duransburg. He shattered all our records, and guess what? I was the only person looked like us in the whole company.
Wow.
And that's always the case. And I don't even like the first stuff because that's for losers. So, and if you take this wrong, I'm sorry. But so they said, guess what? We now see we can do $500,000 a month in sales. That's our new quota. So my commission went down to 10% less of what I made the month before because I broke off the roof of what these guys' limitations were. So I thought right there, I was busting my butt, Nick, working 60, 70 hours a week. Earn that $30,000, $40,000 commission in January 1997. But you know what? Because I didn't own the store, didn't own the store, didn't own the company. The owner would say, oh, whoa, I can't be giving this dude no $30,000, $40,000 check every month. I'm going to cut the commission on that brother. And right there, the light went on, and I said, it's time for me to run my own enterprise. And if I can get this dude $30,000, $50,000, $500,000 in sales, if I can get 10% of that, I can be all right. So at that point in time, I moved out of my nice house, packed my bags, moved back into the hood, into a one-bedroom apartment, paid my rent 6 months in advance, and I started White Glove Immaculate Services because I said, never again am I going to make somebody else rich off my back if I really know what my true worth is. So when that person is talking about, oh, man, I work 70, 80, 90 hours, guess what? Whose system are you working in? And I don't fault you because you were taught to go to school, get a job, make somebody else rich. Here's a tip. Here's a tip for you.
Okay.
Whatever you make, if it's $10,000 a year, $100,000 a year, or $1 million a year, for that employer to pay you that, you're making them 10 times that. Woo. Go check it out if you don't believe me. So if you're making $10,000 a year, that means you're making your employer $100,000 in revenue. If you're making $100,000 a year, you're impacting your employer's bottom line $1 million and everything. That's social media, currency, revenues, dollars. That's your impact. If you're making $1 million a year, look at that professional athlete. If he makes $1 million a year, how much money is he bringing into the stadium? How much money is he bringing into the ballpark? How much money is he bringing into the football field? He's bringing thousands of people in that are paying $100 a ticket. That's $1 million. And then he's selling merch with his name on the back of it for another $1 million. Then they're getting these TV contracts. Those TV contracts are paying billions of dollars, but you're getting $1 million. But who's doing the work? Is it the owner? Is it the coach? Is it the general manager? Oh, no, it's you. So when you figure that out, maybe you might start working for yourself. But again, it ain't for everybody. But you know what? Here's the thing. God made everybody, man, woman, and child, to run their own program.
Be the master of your own destiny.
Exactly. So guess what, Nick? My children are put in the Duransburg program. You know what the Duransburg program is? Own everything you make. Anything you think of, put your name on it, incorporate you. And if it fails, so be it. Dad and mom will be here to help you out until you get it right. Richard Kiyosaki says it takes about 7 to 10 failures to find the right business to live the lifestyle that you deserve to have. Guess what? We're a living example of that.
Yeah. Yeah. And if your family doesn't make it, you still own it. So yeah, talk about that too.
Exactly. So that's purpose, baby. So yeah, man. What else you want to talk about with Nick's knowledge? Because man, you got a breadth of knowledge. Look at all them books behind you. We can talk about current events, everything, and man, this is exciting to be the first show. And here's the thing: I want everybody to know: if there's only one person on this platform today, or if there's 1,000 people watching this, guess what? Get excited about where Nick's show is going to be 6 months from now. Get excited about where Nick's show is going to be 3 weeks from now. Because just like you, we're learning the platform. But one thing that we have in diamonds, spades, and aces is a wealth of knowledge, a wealth of experience. So if you want a different spill with a more clearer vision and without all the hype, and keeping it legitimately 100, where you'll have two people who will be practicing. No, let me take that right. They'll be preaching what they practice in integrity and transparency. Come on, tell all your friends, like, share, and subscribe to this show because we always gonna bring it 100. And here's what I'm gonna tell you too, Nick. If I'm wrong about something, I'll be the first person to apologize. I'll be the first person to correct it because we abide by these 3 principles. It's called the silver rule, the golden rule, and the platinum rule. And the silver rule is to do the least you can do to get in trouble. The golden rule, do what you want to be done unto you. But the platinum rule is treat people the way they want to be treated. So if it's, for instance, if you got on a different color shirt than I do, they probably cost the same amount of money. But if I told you I was going to buy you a shirt you wanted and I bought you the shirt I got to give you, that's the golden rule. But if I bought you the shirt that you actually got on and from my money, that's the platinum rule. So we're going to apply the platinum rule on this show tonight. And we're going to apply it every Friday like clockwork. So, hey, man, I'm excited, man. And man.
Yeah, I'm excited too. And you know what? We've been going for a while too, man. We're going close to an hour now. So before we get out of here, let me reiterate a few things about a platform. So this is the 7 Spheres of Money YouTube channel. So make sure you subscribe to that. We're also on Facebook, 7 Spheres of Money on Facebook as well. Make sure you go like that. If you're on Instagram, we're also 7 Spheres of Money on Instagram too. If you want to follow me, I'm Nick Westbrooks on Facebook. Well, you probably already found me on there because you watch it from there. And and of course the Instagram also, Mr. Westbrooks. So that's where we're at. So
hey, you know what, Nick? Why don't you tell them a little bit about your academic background? Because
okay.
I think it goes without saying that, man. Number one, you're doing some phenomenal work that most Black men don't do because your value is going to be generational impact and transgenerational impact from a Black man's perspective. And the work you're doing, man, it is thankless work, but we need more people like you to do it. So why don't you let them know a little bit about your academic background and what you're doing professionally that actually is the reason why we're doing this show? Because you got some important words across your chest. And I think what people need to know is what we're about as real men. So as I talked about him, humility, integrity, man or woman, you're him because you're a hero in the community. And this is another reason why you should be telling your friends and family about this show because you're not getting this anywhere else. So tell us about your background, brother.
That's a fact. That's a fact. So, so my undergrad degree, I attended Howard University. I'm actually majored in broadcast journalism, minored in African American studies. So I went through about 3.5 years under that program. I did graduate with that degree, but I didn't pursue that career. So maybe around my senior year, after doing these internships, I interned with the Washington Bureau of ABC News.
Wow.
So I did. Yep. I was at ABC News. So I was working with the assignment desk, but I went out a lot. So I went out and shadowed, the reporters on Capitol Hill and the Department of Defense at the White House. So I remember one day, a little short story. One day I was at Capitol Hill with the digital journalist that covers, I believe, the House. And this was around the time of the whole Anthony Weiner situation. Around 2011, I think, around that time, with the whole Anthony Weiner situation. So I was pretty much shadowing him for the entire business day from about 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. So we pretty much spent the entire day.
Well, you were shadowing Anthony Weiner?
This was so we were
man, tell us about that, bro.
So we were up on the hill, spending the whole day from 9 to 5 running around Capitol Hill trying to find a scoop on Anthony Weiner. That's what we did all day. All day. So I'm like, this is what we got so much stuff going on in the world, and we spending all this time, so many things going on in Congress and the House of Representatives.
You were chasing Weiner about his wiener.
Right, yeah, exactly. We spent the whole day, trying to track down that fool, man. So I'm like, is this what this is about? You know, I know local news is a little bit different, but no network news. We spent the whole day doing this, all the bills and things, you know, being proposed and being written, and we spent the whole day chasing around this guy. Is this what this industry is about?
hey, let me put a pause on that right quickly. Give you a little interjection here, okay?
Go ahead. Yeah.
You didn't know why you were doing that before. Do you know why you were doing it now?
Oh yeah.
Why were you doing it? You didn't know then why you were doing that, but do you know why you were doing it then?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not I've always been a media critic, not just a media consumer. So I'm aware that they dangle things in front of us, while they're doing something else on the low. The money too.
Right. Well, guess what? Ratings, sensationalism.
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, the ratings.
Marvy Povich. What's that other clown? What's the bigger one that had the glasses? What's his name? Man, he was out of Chicago too. But my point is, what you didn't realize then is that the reason why y'all were chasing that idiot, because ratings going through the roof for the local regional, network. Because I was in that industry too. So it didn't matter if it was good, bad stuff, sensationalism sold off the charts. So you're chasing this fool instead of in the city on Capitol Hill talking about legislation. You're chasing somebody out literally sending pictures of his wiener over the internet who happened to be named Wiener.
Yeah.
But anyway, go back to your story. So again, what we're going to do on these programs, you're going to talk about things that you want to talk about from knowledge and notions. I'm going to tell you how the money follows all that stupidity. Yeah. And I'm going to tell you how the money follows the great things too. Okay? That's what you're going to get on this show, is that I'm going to connect the dots to the money while Nick connects the dots to the knowledge. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I forgot to mention that at the beginning that
finish your story. Finish your story, brother.
Yeah. So of course, I'll be going in about all the things that are going on in my head, and of course, DJ, he'll be coming through with the financials perspective. But yeah, just going back to that story. So it's the money, and it's also, they don't want the public to know everything that they have going on up there too. So it's a distraction as well. So I mean, that was just one experience there. I was also aware that I could do local news, or even start my own platform. Which was something that I entertained at the time. But with the clock ticking, graduation coming close, I thought about some other options. I thought about what's another career that's more fulfilling, to me, that I'd be able to be more of a servant, and have some more significance. So it just happened that the HBCU recruiter of the program Teach for America was on campus doing one-on-one meetings with students who were had good GPAs at the top of the class. So I got the email. I signed up to meet with the sister. So she told me about the program, and it kind of came as education came as a calling, with her just explaining, the impact that I can have on the youth, especially youth that look just like me. And at the same time, I mentioned earlier that my minor was African American Studies, so I was also taking a course called Education in Black America. So, I was learning about the history of Black education, stemming from, the end of slavery up to I would say the 20th century, but we also kind of sprinkled in some current events, dealing with education in Black America. So between that meeting and taking that course, I thought, maybe teaching might be a calling for me. So I did apply for the Teach for America program. I went through the entire process, because those who are familiar, it's a long process. Long application, phone interviews, and then you have the last step is that full day, demo lesson, in-person interview thing. So I got all the way to that point, got through the process, and then they rejected me. But when I applied for that program, I also signed up to receive information about other other educational programs. So so one of the programs that I learned about was based out of Newark, New Jersey. It was called the Great Oaks Teacher Residency, Tutor Corps and Teacher Residency. So I applied for that. After college, I relocated. So I got into that program. I relocated to Newark, New Jersey. And before I go further with that part of the story, let me backtrack and say that when I attended Howard, I took out loans, and my parents took out a bunch of loans.
Wow.
So yeah. So I'm still paying those back. But since I'm in public service, and this public service program is around for a few more years, I'll be able to get all those loans forgiven. But I knew that if I returned to school, I wasn't going to do that again. I wasn't going to take out a bunch of loans and get in debt again. So it's either, pay out of pocket, have someone else pay for it, or I ain't going back to school.
Right. So let me interject again here. So this is one time where we can have that mindset where we could be upset a little bit, rightfully so, because typically those Teach for America programs, those have been designed for Caucasians where they can go do some vacation type program. And I'm not down on the programs, but the reality is you said something that's very important. You had to take on loans, and your parents took on loans.
Yeah.
And usually what happens is that those loans become so overwhelming to the individual that you're not able to pursue your real dreams. So your calling may be teaching, but in that necessarily you need to be teaching in a classroom. You just need to be teaching our people about how to live their life and to embrace their dreams and have financial prosperity. And at the same time, don't forget where you come from. So fortunately for you, you're in a program that's a forgiveness program, which they do in a lot of inner cities, but a lot of people don't donate their time because even though you can get the loans forgiven, the risk that you put yourself in, because the people that you're around, they're not violent or bad people. They just under the rock and the stone of the system that they only know how to do is to fight out because there's no light at the end of the tunnel because they don't see a Nick Westbrooks. But now they can see a Nick Westbrooks and they can say, you know what? There's other ways to go about getting education and dreams and living the life that not the way you see it on television, but you can actually live that life that's better, is safe, more sound, because I'm coming back and giving back to the community and I'm showing you access. See, so what I would want to do for people who play that victim role, Nick, is say, look for access, look for opportunity, and find people that look like you that will mentor you in some capacity. Because here's the reality. There's always somebody out there that's looking for somebody that they can do an apprenticeship program for or mentor, but you got to go find them. So fortunately for you, you were able to get put in this program that's going to give you forgiveness of your loans in a short period of time. And fortunately for you, you saw a program on YouTube that gave you access to a financially independent entity, and you took advantage of it. But what most people end up doing is they keep working because they are afraid that they're going to lose what they have, which is not much at all. So what we want to be able to do on this program is share with them access, opportunity, knowledge that can be applied if you're ready to put the work in and you want to have a better way. And if you're at that level above, we want you to come down and share. But here's the first thing that everybody has to do. You got to save yourself first. So with COVID, and I've been on 4 planes since COVID, and the first thing they had us do is put on that mask. And then they tell you, if we find ourselves in a turbulent situation where the plane's going down, then you got to put on an oxygen mask for who? Not the person next to you, not your child, but yourself first.
Self first, yeah.
You got to do that. So what you're experiencing right now, Nick, is that you got the mask on yourself, you're getting the oxygen, you're getting the knowledge, and now you see there's a different way to work smarter versus harder. But here's the great thing about it. You still can educate that young black woman, that young black man, and still show them impact and say, hey, if your dream is to be a designer, here's the way you can become a designer. If your dream is to be a ball player, here's the way to become a ball player. But if your dream is to be a business person and own everything, and still play ball and still be a designer, here's an avenue for you to do that too. Mm-hmm. All you gotta do is knock on the door, baby. Somebody will answer. Well, back to you, brother.
Yep. That's what it's all about. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So this program that I joined, it was it was a 1 year. Started out as a 1 year program at a charter school in downtown Newark, in which I served as a full-time tutor. So at this school, tutorials, math and English tutorials were incorporated into the school day, rather than it being an after-school, type of extracurricular type of activity. So it was a volunteer, 1 year volunteer program, but they also had an additional program for those interested in becoming English teachers. So there was a teacher residency program similar to like a doctor's residency, in which you would go to grad school to get the teacher education certification. You would do the classes, but you will also get hands-on experience actually being in the classroom, being a teacher's assistant, also doing student teaching on Saturdays. So with that program, the school had a partnership. The charter school that I was working at, it had a partnership with New York University, NYU. So they had an agreement in which the charter school and NYU would pay for the teacher certification, and you could continue on. So the teacher certification was 18 credits, and you had the option of continuing on to finish the master's program, which was another 12 credits, and that would be at a 55% discount. So the thinking was, if you chose to finish with the master's and go into the second year, you would have your first teaching job. So they will also help you find a teaching job too. So once you're in your first teaching job and you have that teacher's salary, you could just pretty much pay, the rest of the tuition out of pocket, because you're making that salary. So that was the thinking behind the program. So that's what I did. So I have my master's degree in a secondary English education, from NYU, and I've been teaching since 2014. Yeah, 2014. I did the fellowship program during the 2013-2014 school year. So I had my first teaching job, actual real teaching job, since 2014, working in the Newark school system. I was at a charter school for 3 years, and now I'm working with the district, Newark Public Schools. I've been there for 3 years. Just finished up my third year. So that's what I'm doing. That's what I'm doing right now. That's my academic background, and that's where we are. That's where we are so far.
Man, that's amazing. So what was the light bulb, moment for you when you thought that, what, man, I got bigger, better dreams, and I can still impact, my community, and I could become, free in America, man? What was that moment that triggered the reality that this can be a real deal for you?
Just realizing, like, even though, yes, I do have all the federal holidays off, I do have, the 2 months in the summer off, but weighing that out with the amount of work that I'm doing, the amount of work and the amount of energy that goes into being an educator, and then looking at the compensation, the pay, that was a big thing. Like I knew going in that teachers didn't make much, but actually doing the work and realizing it's a lot more work than what I thought. I'm realizing, like, I'm not getting paid what I'm worth, and I'm not becoming free either in the process. Like I love my job, I enjoy my job, but yeah, I'm not getting paid what I'm worth. So that was the light bulb right there. So from there, I kind of knew what I needed to do, but I didn't have someone to kind of show me the specific steps, and I didn't have a system that could kind of meet me where I was, and kind of get me on that path, with where I was at the time. So I was kind of trying to figure things out on my own, researching, investing in the stock markets, and trying to teach myself how to trade and all of that. So I learned some things, but it wasn't getting me to where I needed to be in the timeline that I needed, in which I needed it to be. So just coming across the 7 spheres of money, it not only helped me to get on the path towards becoming free and realizing my value and receiving what I'm worth, but it also helped me realize and become aware of things that I was I've been doing wrong, and just realizing that I'm overpaying for my car insurance, and realizing that overpaying and underinsured with my life insurance, and realizing that I'm not gaining enough interest on my savings and my emergency fund. So I just needed that guidance and that system, like DJ mentioned, that mentorship. What's the word? That mentorship and that apprenticeship, and that's what I got. That was the light bulb there.
So how many of your colleagues and your friends have the same sentiments? Because I'm always intrigued to find out what people in your age group and outside of them just having a good time, how many of them actually think about that and think about ownership, and home and assets, or are they just out there clueless? I mean, because obviously you're a great guy, so I know you got a good nucleus of friends around you. What's the general conversation with you guys outside of just regular hip hop and pop culture in terms of where I'm going to be when I'm 35, where I'm going to be when I'm 40, or is everybody just, hey man, Kanye's running for president, Trump versus Biden? What is the general consensus, brother?
I mean, it's a mixture. It's a mixture. Some have some feel the same way that I do. Some of them are aware of the things that I mentioned, but a lot of people talk. A lot of people talk, but they aren't putting the work behind it. And it's no judgment. It's not to say that they don't want to do the work. Sometimes they may not know how to do the work. I know I've shared back in the past, before I became an actual member, or rather say contractor for DJ the Money Coach, and when I was still a client, I would share the webinars and the interviews and things like that, and people would love the information, but they didn't quite see the value. They would see the price of the webinar and say, oh, this sounds good, but the price of the webinar, or I had one person say that this is that sounds good, but I'm doing okay. I don't need to pay somebody to teach me how to teach me these things, and I'm like, are you doing that good? Are you doing that great? So
that's a great point. So how do you juxtapose that with when they just make a arbitrary decision to go out and spend $300-400 over the weekend, just to feel good? I mean, because it's been a while since I've been in your age group, but I'm still thinking like, I spent a lot of money, had a lot of parties, did a lot of traveling, but I always in the back of my mind said, you know what, man, I got to be mentally stable. I got to be financially stable, and I still want to have a good time at the same time. I want it all, but how do I get it all if I'm not willing to invest in myself? But don't think twice about dropping $100 here, $300 there, flying across the country to have that experience, because what people invest in are experiences. They don't invest in stability. They invest in experiences. So how do the guys and gals in your age group, as millennials or Gen X, whatever y'all call it, how do they navigate that terrain, man, and give the justification, the rationalization. And I always tell people, you know what the definition of a lie is? It's, a excuse wrapped inside. A reason is an excuse wrapped inside of a lie, because they're not being honest with themselves. So how do your friends say, hey, man, I just kicked it this weekend. I went to the concert. I went to the ball game. Oh, yeah, man, I dropped $300-400, got a couple of bottles. But then they come back home and they got them bills stacked up and they know they got a problem, but they don't want to face it. But when you're doing the grind and it's not popular, how does that conversation look? And how do we relate to them to actually make it more appealing to them?
Yeah, I mean, well, to be honest, most of the people in my circle, they're not, they enjoy themselves, but they're not extravagant or excessive with it, so that they don't, not all of them are necessarily spending, $300 or $400, on one night or one weekend. But I would say their idea of stability and our idea of stability are different things. It's their idea of stability is being comfortable, and becoming comfortable in where they are. And it might be a career or a job they're in. And, they just kind of have this mindset like, okay, this is a nice, comfortable place where I'm at. I just gotta, keep chipping at this career, for, until it's time to retire. And then once I retire, I can relax and live comfortably, so that's I believe that's a little bit of the thinking, this idea that, you mentioned that we were created, to be owners, to be the masters of our destiny. But, a lot of my peers, they're comfortable in not owning, or they just have the misconception that they aren't built or created to be owners.
Man, that's you know what? That's for probably 90% of society. And no matter what ethnicity you are, what color, what creed, because you are in somebody else's system. So there's a saying, you're going to be part of a network. It's either your network or someone else's network. But the reality is, if you don't have your own network, you're probably not going to ever be free, and you're probably not going to ever have complete autonomy of your life.
Yeah.
So I think one of the things that we want to aspire to do is to bring people, opportunities to have freedom. If you want to be a teacher for the rest of your life, be a teacher, because that is an honorable, vocation. But be a teacher because you want to be a teacher, and you don't have to be a teacher. And economics doesn't hold you down from doing other things other than teaching. So I would say, man, this has been amazing. It's a lot of stuff we can talk about, but as anything, all shows have to end.
Yeah. And, but before you finish, I also want to point this out too, because I have noticed that within the past few years, we've seen a lot more people become entrepreneurs. We've seen a lot, especially during this pandemic. So I do want to point that out, but I also want to point out that they're starting businesses, but a lot of them aren't doing real business. If we think about Astoria's webinar last week, or earlier in the week.
Yeah, earlier in the week, this past Tuesday.
Yeah, this past Tuesday. Yeah. So I do want to point that out. Before we sign off. Just going back to the question about the ownership and becoming financially free.
I think you make a great point, is that 98% of people that we see out here that look like us, they're not running real businesses. And these platforms, YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, they are running popularity contests as sole, proprietors. They don't have systems in place. And then you find that out when they don't get the stimulus money, they don't get the grants, and they have a cash, business like Astoria talked about. They could be making $10,000, $12,000, $15,000 a month, but because they're not treating it like a business, like a corporation really is run, when the COVID hit, all that goes away.
Mm.
So if we can spread the gospel of truth of how businesses are run and structured and invest in them upfront versus trying to hack everything to shortcut the shortcut, because that does not win in the long term, because there's going to be another pandemic with a different name in 5 to 7 years. And there's going to be, political unrest 5, 7 years. And hopefully there won't be, mass, killings of people that look like us in the future. But you should be prepared for this stuff because you have a business, a plan, and a goal. You have people to be mentored by. You have apprenticeship programs to, get yourself in front of, and you have the ability to understand who you are so that you never put a limit on yourself. So I think that's one of the things that I want to make sure that people understand. Sometimes I know I can come across as, kind of brash and crass at times, but I'm not really that way. I'm really that way with people who are not doing the things the way they're supposed to, but those same people have excuses. So I think, again, man, I commend you that you, put the work in, you had the vision, you wanted to be on this platform, and we're going to open up this dialogue for everybody to come join us. And we welcome people to come on the show. We want to do Q&A with folks. And I'm looking at where the show is going to be 2 years from now, 3 years from now. And we'll talk about any and everything that Nick wants to talk about, from the knowledge that you gain and the notions, so that we can bring that science, like KRS-One said, got to bring that science to people, man, at the end of the day. So, man, I'm excited for the program. And I think we talked about a lot of stuff, man. Is your show, your platform, man. Let's tell the people again, hey, subscribe to the channel, like it, share it. And if you don't like it, tell us why you don't like it, because it's the first show, and we're going to make it better. But guess what we're not going to do? We're not going to change who we are. And there's a lot of different shows out there that you can watch. But, man, you ain't going to get the real unless you come here. The real.
Right.
Because, and I'll leave you with this. Hey, man, what did you get out of that Chase webcast today that they talked about entrepreneurism or the lack of businesses in the Black community? What'd you get out of that before we get out of here?
Oh, man. I got from that, it's just kind of sad, man, just thinking about the dysfunction and the lack of unity,
Tell them who was on that webcast first and foremost, and tell them, is that the everyday person gets access to that kind of information?
Oh, no, that's not an everyday thing. The webcast that was moderated by Damon John. I know y'all know who that is. Also I saw Ron Busby on there from the Chamber of Commerce. He was on. I met him on campus back in my Howard days. And there were a few other folks on there that I can't remember.
Mark Morial.
Yeah, Mark Morial. Yeah, of course. I don't know how I forgot him, because I used to intern at the Urban League, down in Washington. So yeah, Mark Morial from the Urban League. Yeah.
And the Vice President, Tosh Ernest, of Advancing Black Pathways. Yep. Advancing Black Pathways. But talk to them about what you got out of it, what they said was a positive, and they said was the deficiencies in our so-called entrepreneur base that we don't have in order to scale like real businesses. But I think you may see we actually have some of those foundational principles right here on our own platform. Talk to that, man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, it's just kind of going back to what we were just speaking about a few minutes ago with we have a lot of people, quote unquote entrepreneurs and business owners who are owning businesses, but they aren't doing real business. And that's something that we offer over here, as far as showing you how to do real business, showing you how to be incorporated, or how to get incorporated, showing you how to get your business trademarked, and things like that. So that's one thing there. And then, just also just going back to, I guess you could say it's the crabs in the barrel type of mentality when it comes to there's room for everyone to eat, you know, and to succeed. Like Biggie said, everybody eats, but you know, for some reason, you know, we're missing that, you know, and it becomes a competition, a Game of Thrones type of type of deal where we're you know, fighting against each other and sabotaging each other instead of, you know, putting each other on, you know, giving each other's opportunities, doing business with each other. You know, we noticed that some of our businesses are owned by us, but we don't have employees that look like us, you know, so that, you know, that's another thing.
You noticed that, huh?
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, you know, just making that known and speaking that truth and becoming aware of that and knowing what we need to fix and where we need to go from here was definitely a positive from that webcast.
Yeah, you know what? Another thing that was impactful for me was when Butch Graves, who's the son of Earl Graves, who's now the CEO and the president of Black Enterprise. Mm-hmm. I would encourage you guys to participate in anything that Black Enterprise does. Is that he said, hey, we should start looking at consolidation and merging and acquisitions instead of trying to be our own, you know, conglomerate by ourselves. Why don't we collectively pull together so that the Walmarts, the Amazons, the Googles of the world can give us big contracts and we can scale up fast?
There you go.
And that resonated with me because just yesterday we did a venture like that, didn't we?
We did. Yes, we did.
That somebody that you would have thought because they were doing very well that they wouldn't see the value in working with us, but just the opposite. That person was like, oh, absolutely. I'm all about business. Let's work together, because that person was an alpha, knows that if we can interdependently work together, we can be better. And I think that's what I would like to have people come to this platform to understand that, again, we'll give you access, cooperative economics, we'll show you the road, and we hope that you get bigger than us, because that's how the legacy happens. So I vision that your program will be the biggest, most successful thing on the platform, because that's the way it should be. You know, we should be able to take these 20 years that I have and put into you so that you can go further and farther, because that's legacy. So what people need to understand is that you go through struggle, then you have success with your financial, and then you have significance where you help somebody else achieve what you have or even more. So that's all I got to say, man, for this episode, man. And I always say to people, you know, I want you to have a pom-pom lifestyle. That's plenty of money, peace of mind. And I want you to come join us on the Beaches of the World Club. But this is Nick's show, so Nick closes it out.
All right. Yeah. So to close out, you know, we'll come to that ending, but just to tie everything back together, you know, just remember to stay on your purpose. You know, no matter what's going on, you know, put the noise to the side. You know, turn down the volume of that noise. You know, remember that you create your own reality. You know, so like DJ always closes things out. We want you to live a pom-pom lifestyle. That's plenty of money and peace of mind. And we want you to join us, you know, and the rest of our team on the Beaches of the World Club, you know, because, you know, you gotta live it up, you know, while you're here, because you can't take it with you, you know, so you might as well. You know, so take care. We'll see you on the next show. Peace.
Peace.